What's up, my beautiful people? In the ongoing effort of this channel to bring a little more light into an increasingly dark world, we're back again with another daily dose of Reddit Hope and Happy. Going back into r/AskReddit again today for some wholesome laughs, so let's get to it. Alright, so the AskReddit question was, couples of Reddit, what is the funniest thing you've witnessed your significant other do? My husband is a super duper reserved kind of guy. I always say he's so wholesome he sparkles reserved. He doesn't put himself forward in any way. He likes to blend in with the background. Very shy. You get the idea. We're in our 40s, by the way, so that makes this even more funny. To me, anyways. So it's Christmas night, and we're back from the folks' house. He'd gotten a set of black, skin-tight, thermal underwear from his mother. I'm in the living room putting out my new candle holders when he bursts into the room in his new long underwear and does this completely obscene and pants-peeingly hilarious interpretive dance for me. In our near decade of marriage, I'd never seen him do anything even remotely close to it. And my gosh, it was hysterical. Just thinking about it sets me off laughing. You gotta love when someone just does something completely out of character like that. It can be so funny. My girlfriend ran into a glass door because she was so excited to pet my new puppy. Isn't it usually the other way around? The dog runs into the glass door? Hope she didn't bust the glass, though. Took my wife through a haunted house. One of the characters started trailing us, which she wanted no part of. So she got in front of me to get away from it. I let our new friend catch up to us and managed to swap my hand for their hand. Then I stopped and waited. Didn't take long. She got to a corner, turned around to shove me through first, and found out that it wasn't me, but our new friend. Cue the screams, the cursing, and me uncontrollably laughing. Thankfully, we were the last people through for the evening. I've never seen the entire cast of a haunted house break character due to someone's freakout, but it was totally worth it. She still won't go to a haunted house with me, and I actually work at one now. That's pretty funny. Follow-up to that one. A girl I was into and I went through a haunted maze, complete with dead ends, false turns, strobe lights, and otherwise pitch black. Both of our ideas of fun. Cue chainsaw noise behind us. She pushed me towards the sound and booked it. I found it more funny than anything, but what was even better was watching a dark, shrouded figure pull away from the wall and go after her. I'm trying hard not to laugh and give him away while keeping up. Eventually, she feels safe, I see her stop and hear a very loud, "Oh gosh, please hurry up, there's someone in front of me." Actor says, "Someone behind you too." I watch her jump at least a foot and trip before booking it. Nearly peed myself laughing. Best haunted house memory to date. My husband is not supposed to eat in our bed. On a night that I had went to bed before him, I was facing one way and he came in and got in bed and was facing the other. We were back to back. I guess he thought I was asleep because he was eating chicken wings. I felt and heard a light thump and felt him slowly and quietly roll over to see if it had woke me up. This mug literally dropped a chicken wing in the bed and his life flashed before his eyes, so he rolled over to see if I knew. I debated on whether or not I should have rolled over and fussed, but it was too funny. I just let him think I was sleeping. Of all the things to eat in bed, why would you bring chicken wings? If they drop, that is the most obvious thing, especially if they're sauced. You're not hiding that. Not to mention you can't hide that smell. And on top of all that, do you not brush your teeth before you go to bed? I mean, how is that taste not just disgusting? Toothpaste plus chicken wings is like, ugh. I can't imagine that. There was this guy I had just met who was interested in me. I wasn't too sure about him because I didn't know him well, and besides, we lived in different countries. My friend who was visiting and staying with me knew of the situation, and after a night out, she invited him to stay over at my place to watch a movie with us. We all fell asleep in the living room. In the morning, he and I were in the living room while my friend was in the kitchen. For some reason, when I lived in that country, every morning I had major gas. Like super loud, airy gas. It wasn't smelly, just loud. It was like clockwork. This morning was no different. And since I really didn't think anything would happen with this guy, I let a huge one rip. It was so loud, even louder than my normal ones. I'm acting like nothing happened while trying to gauge his reaction through my periphery. The guy looks at me and asks, "Was that you?" "No crap, Sherlock. There's no one else in this room." I turn towards him and say, "Yes, do you mind?" I'm watching his reaction because even I thought this fart was gross and loud, and because I'm waiting and wanting to scare him away. Completely unfazed, he says, "No," and then proceeds to talk about the plans for the day. Totally won me over. Been together 13 years, married for 5. I have to admit, I was really nervous the first time that happened in front of my wife when we were dating, because I'm not quiet about it. Being raised in my family, the guys, it's kind of a source of pride to a degree, weird as that sounds. And she comes from a family where she only has sisters. So this is like the unspeakable noise. And for some reason, she didn't really care, which I cannot express how grateful I am. Follow up to that. Farted in his sleep and then chuckled about it, still asleep. My wife had never had a pet before we started dating, but she soon became obsessed with my cat. But other than sometimes feeding and brushing him, she never had to do some of the other tasks that come with cats, namely getting poop out of the litter box. One day, I had a bad flu and asked her to scoop the box. I hear her from the other room screaming, "Ew, it's so gross!" I go into the room and see her crouched by the box wearing a sandwich bag as a form of glove. She had been trying to pick up the pieces individually. The scoop was literally on the floor right next to the box, maybe 6 inches from her. She got really mad at how hard I was laughing. I'm sorry, in that situation, they have every reason to feel embarrassed and you have every right to laugh at it. I mean, if it's that obviously visible. My significant other and I met because we were neighbors in an apartment building. Before we moved in together, she would go to her place to do her business. One of the first nights we were living together, she went to the bathroom and let out a huge fart. I happened to be in the kitchen right outside the door and yelled, "I heard that!" She yelled, "Gosh dang it!" And well, we both died in uncontrollable laughter. We've farted comfortably in front of each other ever since. When she just moved in, I heard her walking past me while I was in the bathroom. She was obviously planning to go to the bedroom, but walked past me towards the living room. She then tried to sneak past me again, but failed miserably. She admitted that she was lost. We laughed long and hard. Every so often, he will crack the silliest, dorkiest joke. They're magically lame enough that he cracks up and ends up in tears. When he winds down, he rubs his eyes and sighs and says, "Oh, I made myself laugh. It's just the cutest." Okay, I'll admit, I do the same thing, except it's not necessarily always jokes. It's that I'll just think of some random bit that I've seen from some show or whatever, usually Family Guy, South Park, or something else as equally idiotic. And I'll be like in the middle of conversation and I will just start busting up into laughter. And people who don't know me get very confused, and people who do are just like, "Was it Family Guy again?" Or just something along those lines. Or if it's related to a specific memory, they'll just be like, "Were you thinking of this again?" Yeah, I'm weird like that. His dance moves for when we're driving. It's funny and adorable. I will always smile and laugh every time. Well, today, when we were walking to work, separate buildings in downtown, I stopped to freak out because there was a bee hovering by my face. He immediately got into this fighting position. Told him that it was just a bee, and he replied with, "I was ready." 8 a.m. fun times. Well, at least he's got your back. Although, that might just be against bees. What happens if the murder hornets come? So, a little bit of backstory. I absolutely love owls, and for Christmas, my family got me a child's owl blanket. The kind where the whole thing is bright pink, the hood is an owl face, and it has little pockets to put your hands in to make it look like you have wings. A little while ago, I was taking off my makeup to get ready for bed, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of pink. I looked over, and there he was, running around in nothing but his boxers and my owl blanket, pretending to fly and making what I assume was meant to be owl sounds. He's usually so sensible, and even thinking about it now cracks me up. This one, I didn't actually witness it, but my husband did live text the whole debacle, and I came home to the aftermath. See, he was trying to be sweet and clean the oven for me. Thing is, he'd never done it before. So he gets out my heavy-duty oven cleaner and sprays it in there. Then he decides to call his mom to ask her how you clean an oven. She told him about the self-cleaning function and said it might smoke a bit as it burned off the stuff on the bottom. So he turned it on. A whole bunch of smoke came out and the oven cleaner caught on fire for a bit. That, and the noxious fumes spreading through the house, were what clued my husband into the fact he'd made a mistake. He turned the oven off, opened up all the windows, and then he and his friend bailed. I came home 4 hours later and the house still smelled like the oven cleaner. I like to remind him of this every so often. As for something I've actually seen him do, it would probably be whenever he has to put our daughter in PJs. She is a squirmer and likes to try and crawl away. She can flip herself in a second and he's always so worried about hurting her that she just rolls over and over like a crocodile trying to kill something. I'm generally of no help and just laugh. Once in a while I do help, but mostly not. It's too funny to watch. Our third date. I took my girlfriend to a mini golf place in a basement of a skyscraper downtown. Being the gentleman, I let her go first on the first hole. She squares up, does a full backswing, and drives this thing like she's trying to hit a par 4 in the Masters. The ball goes ricocheting around the building, and every person in the place freezes and looks at us. I instinctively yell, 4! And learned that she had never touched any kind of golf club before. Yeah, that had to be awkward. There's several things, but one I keep teasing her about is the fact that she thought that the Christmas song, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, was about the mother cheating on the father with Santa. It went something like this. Song comes on. Fiancé. Ugh, I really don't like this song. Me. Why? I think it's cute that the dad dresses up like Santa. Fiancé. Oh. Me. Did you think she was cheating on? Fiancé. I don't want to talk about it. One time I walked into our kitchen to witness my wife tromping around in the dark like a maniac. Think of Godzilla stomping around crushing things. It was very random and I had never seen her act like that. I bring it up often. She loves it. My boyfriend meows at things if he thinks I can't hear him. If I ask him about it, he denies it, but I know the truth. My girlfriend's really, really jumpy. When she cut her hair into bangs, she kept jumping because she thought it was a spider. No, that's extremely jumpy. Not him, but me. I was at my boyfriend's house and he was doing the dishes from our lunch. I was drying up, but we were in a silly mood and I excused myself for a moment. I went into his room and found his empty laundry basket, kind of like this, and placed it on top of me. It covered pretty much my entire torso and I folded my arms in too. So imagine one upside down with a pair of bare legs poking out of the bottom. I quietly step into the kitchen and form a battle stance type position with my legs before loudly whispering, "Are you ready to rumble?" He turns around to see what I'm doing and just about dies of laughter. He says to this day it's one of the scariest and most amusing things he's seen. Whenever he uses his laundry basket and I'm around, now he glances at me and chuckles to himself. My husband and I met after work to see a movie, and when he saw me, he immediately gave me a big hug and whispered, "I have hamburgers in my pockets." Sure enough, when we sat down in the theater, he pulled 2 hamburgers from A&W out of his pockets like it was normal. That is the first time I've ever heard of anyone bringing hamburgers to a movie. I walked in on my boyfriend being sweet to his cat. He was laying in bed and his cat was on his chest. My boyfriend was holding his cat's little front paws and singing, "I will kiss you on your cheeks, I will kiss you on your feet." I opened the door wider and he and his cat just turned their heads in shock. Still sing him that song sometimes. Oh, Zorro would never let me do that. He can't sit still long enough unless he's taking a nap. When we first got married, my sister-in-law was only about 5. She left her bicycle at the top of the driveway and my husband thought it would be funny, a genuine hold my beer babe moment, to ride it to the bottom. Did I mention that the driveway was at a 60-degree angle? There he is, a grown man careening down a hill on a pink bike. He did pretty good until he hit a bump. Then his legs flew up in the air and he and the bike started to roll sideways down the yard. It looked like he was hugging the dang thing. He landed on his back, rolled the bike up on its wheels, rolled back on his back, and did this several times. I couldn't breathe well enough to even ask if he was okay. I was laughing so hard. When I wheezed out a touch of concern, his only reply was a long stuttering groan. He didn't hurt anything but his pride. My husband graduated from law school, passed the bar exam, and is a seasoned lawyer. One day he left for work without his pants on. Boyfriend was making mac and cheese with hot dogs. Pre-cut up the hot dogs and the butter, plopped the chunks of butter in the boiling water, realized his mistake, and laughed at the silliness. Was going to start a new batch, but ended up dumping the dry pasta down the sink instead of the water. I'm so glad I was there for that. Not long after my now wife moved here, we were going for lunch with our big dogs to my parents' farm. Our biggest and stupidest dog clipped her in the back of the knees in his excited run, and I turned around just in time to see my wife falling over in the most awkward, slow-motion fall ever. Years later, and we still talk about her and her slow-mo falling. Another fond memory is of her slipping over an ice cream someone dropped on the street in Sydney. My boyfriend was showing me one of his favorite online games, and for some reason his mouse decided to stop working, so he died, in-game, very quickly. He got gradually more frustrated and culminating in yelling, "What the bleep?" Not my censored version, he said those exact words. He was mad, and I was giggling like crazy. It was hilarious and cute all at once. Locked himself out of his house in the middle of winter wearing nothing but a robe. We live in Detroit. Ton of snow on the ground. He had a flight scheduled in a few hours. He went to his neighbor's house and caught a ride to mine. Those neighbors we always refer to as the deliverance neighbors. Never make eye contact. The funny moment was when he came barreling into my living room yelling, "I need your keys!" I was doubled over crying and laughing as I found his keys. I'm a terrible girlfriend. We're still together. My girlfriend does what she calls her beaver voice. Sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks animated shows. First time she did it, she stayed in character for almost 45 minutes. Scared the heck out of her dog because he had no clue what the heck was going on. That's actually pretty impressive if you can do Alvin and the Chipmunks like that, because that's actually sound modulation to be able to pull that off. So if you can do that naturally, yeah, that's pretty legit. And while I'm a professional voice talent, I can't really do that, although I can do a spot-on Gollum. And, maybe one day I'll do that for you guys if you're interested. There's more funny and uplifting AskReddit content at the playlist link on your left, or if you want to see the video YouTube thinks would be best for you, go ahead and hit that link on the right. Now you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, stay beautiful, people.